Today's news highlights. Date June 2, 2025. News highlights: Taiwan stocks fluctuated wildly this quarter, with a weighted index spread of 4,573 points. The three major investment advisory experts expect the market to be long and short in June, but the bullish is still greater than the bearish. The index will be box-shaped, with a quarterly line of 21,000 points and an upward trend of 22,300 points on the annual line. The six major bullish factors include good corporate fundamentals, high winning rate of U.S. stocks in June, chip consolidation, domestic capital momentum, appreciation of the new Taiwan dollar, and the release of bullish profits at the shareholders' meeting. It is necessary to pay attention to the uncertainty of tariffs, the appreciation of the Taiwan dollar to compress profits, and the pressure of foreign investors to short orders. The bullish groups are dominated by AI, high-dividend stocks, and financial stocks. News highlights: last year, the number of spies reached 64, a threefold increase in 3 years, and the targets of the infiltration have expanded from high-ranking cadres to grassroots officers and soldiers, and they have also recruited retired servicemen and gangsters to serve as internal agents when preparing to invade Taiwan by force. Infiltration techniques include money and sex bribery, political empty checks, and historical emotional lure. Yuan Hongbing, a jurist in Macau, pointed out that the Chinese communists have shifted from peaceful reunification to the use of force to invade Taiwan, with the goal of breaking the will of the Taiwan military and the defense line of Taiwan society. News highlights: Nvidia's announcement to enter price hike caused a discussion in the housing market, but the real estate market is not good, with the transaction volume in April falling by more than 26% year-on-year, the number of existing home transactions falling by 24.35% from January to April, and the mortgage interest rate soaring to a 16-year high. Expert Li Tongrong warned that in the second half of the year, builders will face three major difficulties: capital disconnection, forced construction, and bankruptcy risk, which may lead to increased volatility in the housing market. It is expected that house prices will fall quarter by quarter, and transaction volume will rebound, showing a pattern of price decline and volume increase. First-time buyers can take advantage of the price loosening to actively take action and seize the opportunity to buy a house at a low price. News highlights: the long-term relationship between U.S. Treasury yields and the U.S. dollar has become ineffective, and the correlation between the two has fallen to a nearly 3-year low. Trump's tariff policy and questioning the independence of the Fed have put pressure on the bond market, making it more challenging for investors to avoid risk. The dollar index weakened sharply despite the rise in U.S. Treasury yields to 4.6%. Worried about the U.S. fiscal deficit, credit downgrade, and the collapse of trust in the U.S. dollar system, Goldman Sachs and a number of experts advised investors to turn to safe haven assets such as the euro, yen, Swiss franc, and gold in response to the weakness of the U.S. dollar and market turmoil. News highlights: the Czech Chamber of Deputies passed an amendment to Article 403 of the Criminal Code, which made it clear that propaganda of communism would be a criminal offense alongside the Nazis, punishable by 1 to 5 years in prison. Proponents argue that both are totalitarian regimes that suppress human rights and freedoms and should be treated equally. The sponsors stressed that communism and Marxism are violent in nature and should not be downplayed for their historical crimes. The amendments, which have yet to be passed by the Senate and signed by the President, are intended to defend democracy and the rule of law and prevent the resurgence of totalitarian ideologies. News highlights: the new Taiwan dollar appreciated strongly by 6.98% in May, the largest monthly increase in 36 years, and has appreciated by 9.53% since the beginning of this year, ranking first among Asian currencies. Looking ahead to June, the head of the bank pointed out that 3 key times will affect the trend of the exchange rate. First, the Fed meeting on June 18. The market is concerned about whether its policy will shift. The second is the U.S. Supreme Court's ruling on Trump's tariff policy. Third, the U.S. Treasury Department will soon release a report on the exchange rate. It is estimated that the NTD will fluctuate around 30 yuan in the short term, and it is still necessary to pay attention to changes in international policies and market sentiment. News highlights: the U.S. National Archives has released thousands of reports of unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAPs, submitted by pilots from 2007 to 2024, including unexplained sightings such as flickering moving cylinders and silent, high-speed flying spheres. Some have been identified as balloons, satellites, or space debris, but there are still several cases that cannot be explained by existing art. Experts are divided, with some arguing that it was a visual miscalculation and others calling for a serious confronting of its potential security risks. The Pentagon has also reported several anomalies to Congress, indicating the growing importance of the issue. News highlights: the central bank continued to strengthen measures to crack down on housing speculation, and recently banned the setting of second-priority mortgages for housing loan and life insurance premium financing, and restricted the volume transfer loan guarantee in civil construction and financing. This will prevent the market from using housing loans to create additional financing space and reduce the excessive flow of bank funds to the housing market. Although mortgage life insurance has a protection function, it used to be used in conjunction with financing, but now it has to be changed to an unsecured loan. Affected by the policy, the balance of civil construction and financing of the Bank of China has declined for 2 consecutive years. In 2024, it will decrease by more than 40 billion yuan compared with 2022. Yuan has grown against the trend with social housing lending, and other banks have remained flat or declined, indicating that the central bank's determination to fight housing speculation has not decreased. News highlights Huida's announcement to enter BICE hike caused a discussion in the housing market, but the real estate market is not good, with the transaction volume in April falling by more than 26% year-on-year, the number of existing home transactions falling by 24.35% from January to April, and the mortgage interest rate soaring to a 16-year high. Expert Li Tongrong warned that in the second half of the year, builders will face 3 major difficulties: capital disconnection, forced construction, and bankruptcy risk, which may lead to increased volatility in the housing market. It is expected that house prices will fall quarter by quarter, and transaction volume will rebound, showing a pattern of price decline and volume increase. First-time buyers can take advantage of the price loosening to actively take action and seize the opportunity to buy a house at a low price. News highlights: since 2021, Taiwan has experienced huge tax overtaxation for 4 consecutive years, with a cumulative total of 1.87 trillion yuan, exceeding 500 billion yuan for the first time last year, accounting for more than 16% of the total budget, causing financial scholars to worry about the loss of national strength. In the face of the increasing number of small coffers, the National Assembly began to discuss the ways to use them, including the opposition party's push to amend the budget law to repay taxes to the people, and the Blue Camp proposed a special ordinance, which plans to distribute 10,000 yuan in cash as soon as August this year, so that the whole people can share the fruits of the economy. Kuomintang legislator Lai Shiveo said that in 2024, the comprehensive tax will be overcharged by about 170 billion yuan, with an average of about 8,000 yuan per person, so 10,000 yuan will be used as the tax repayment standard. News highlights: a netizen shared that his high school friend had excellent grades, and both of them scored more than 70 points in the academic test, and then entered the Department of National Defense Dentistry and the Department of Accounting of National Taiwan University respectively, and the friend also obtained a master's degree and an accountant certificate, but was surprised to find that his friend's monthly salary in the Big Four accounting firms was only about 40,000 yuan. Netizens questioned the low salary, but the accounting seniors pointed out that the salary of the 4 major ones is not high, but the focus is on brand effect and accumulated experience, laying the foundation for obtaining licenses and applying for foreign research institutes in the future, and many career opportunities are also based on the 4 major experiences as the threshold. News highlights: Li Junli, Secretary General of the Supervision Yuan, was revealed to have taken an official car to do private business and pick up and drop off his dog, suspected of private use by public equipment, and issued a resignation statement and apologized last night. Huang Qiukang, chairman of the People's Party, bitterly criticized Li Junli's resignation after being exposed for fraud, which is a desperate attempt by the supervisory yuan, stressing that in addition to his resignation, the prosecutor should strictly investigate his criminal responsibility, and other supervisory committees involved in the supervision yuan should also be held accountable. Wang reiterated that the abolition of the supervisory yuan is the political opinion of the People's Party and former chairman Ko Wen's, and will continue to promote it to eliminate the waste of public funds. News highlights: Zhang Ruyun and Tang Yuxin have been married for 6 years and have a 5-year-old daughter. On International Children's Day, they took their daughter on a trip to London. Zhang Ruyun wore a denim coat with a fisherman's hat, and walked in a casual yuppie style. Tang Yuxin wore a low-cut dress and a Hermes bag, full of aura. The daughter was wearing a green gradient puffy skirt, sitting in a pink stroller, pushed by Zhang Ruyun, showing the image of a favorite wife. A family of 3, the picture is as warm as a magazine cover. The two met at a friend's party, and the legend of the car accident was denied by Tang Yuxin himself. News highlights: the well-known lawyer Liu Kaiyuan's image was damaged due to the illegitimate child turmoil, and he sent a 5,000-word-long article to counterattack the child's biological mother before the Dragon Boat Festival holiday, accusing the other party of taking the initiative to seduce and set up a bureau, which attracted attention. The article was repeatedly deleted by Facebook with the standard of adult sexual temptation, and Liu Kaiyuan explained that it was a systematic miscalculation, and announced that he would not repost it, emphasizing that he was in good condition and appealing to supporters to reassure. He also admitted that he did not clarify in time during this period, which led to misunderstanding and smearing, and said that he would humbly accept criticism and continue to work hard, hoping that the incident would not be dominated by the media and the internet. News highlights: Ye Yishan, a 17-year-old new generation of billiards, was originally invited to participate in the WTT US Grand Slam in July, but was disqualified by the Taiwan Billiards Association on the grounds that he must participate in the Asian Junior Championships. Although Ye Yishan agreed to participate in the Asian Youth Championships, he was still deprived of the right to play Grand Slams, which made coach Zhuang Ziwen and his family dissatisfied. The sports department intervened in the investigation and criticized the association for not respecting the wishes of the athletes, and will suspend the subsidy and make a public apology within a time limit, otherwise it will be severely punished. DPP legislator Cai Kicking also called on the association to put the interests of athletes first, emphasizing that the existence of sports organizations is to serve athletes. News highlights: when Jo Pinjun, the former Tokyo dressing proprietor, bought a bag at LV in Ginza, Japan a few days ago, she went through a complicated tax refund and re-checkout process, and finally got a large paper bag containing the bag, but found that the box was empty, which made her dumbfounded on the spot and returned to the store to clarify. The clerk apologized several times, saying that she didn't know why, breaking her impression of the rigorous image of Japanese boutiques. Jo Pinjun reminds you to confirm on the spot when shopping. A similar situation also occurred in Kyoto's Takashimaya Yard, where a customer bought a wallet and returned to the hotel only to find an empty box. News highlights: in April 2025, the pre-tax surplus of the three financial industries was only 10.97 billion yuan, a monthly decrease of 86%, a new low in the same period, mainly due to the expansion of foreign exchange losses and a sharp decline in investment income in the life insurance industry, with a large loss of 40 billion yuan in a single month, writing the worst record in the same period in history. In the first 4 months, the financial sector had a cumulative surplus of 281.6 billion yuan, down nearly 30% year-on-year. Although the banking industry is relatively stable, life insurance and securities companies are still dragged down by exchange rates and market fluctuations, and legal persons warn that the financial industry may face greater pressure on profits and interest distribution in the second half of the year. News highlights: the Labor Insurance Bureau of the Ministry of Labor will issue 15 subsidies in batches in June 2025, including labor insurance annuity, maternity payment, old farmer allowance and maternity leave salary subsidy, etc., with the largest number of people receiving labor insurance annuity, benefiting 1.87 million people, with an average monthly receipt of nearly 20,000 yuan per person. The main distribution schedule is from June 5 to 30, and the Labor Insurance Bureau reminds the public to check the status of account entry through online banking or passbook. News highlights: don't just eat chicken breast after the Dragon Boat Festival. Doctors remind that eating more than 300 grams of chicken per week is likely to increase the mortality rate by 27%, and men have a higher risk of digestive tract cancer. Reasons include carcinogens in high-temperature cooking, antibiotic residues in farmed chickens and an overly monotonous diet. In particular, smoking and marinated chicken are more harmful. It is recommended to follow the 4Ws, controlling portions, choosing healthy cooking, wide variety and whole plates. News highlights: Lin Chiliying's focus shifted to her family after marriage, and she has been less exposed in recent years, but she recently attended the Beijing Film Festival but was criticized by netizens for becoming a Japanese daughter-in-law, walking with her head bowed, and losing her self-confidence. In this regard, she responded to the thank you reminder with a high EQ, saying "I haven't been a star for too long," and posted a video of herself changing to a bag with the word confidence written on her back, humorously fighting back against the sour people, and won praise from fans for her gentleness and strength. News highlights: drink iced coffee in the hot summer to cool off and refresh, but Kazu, a Japanese coffee expert, reminds that 4 major NG behaviors may affect flavor and health. 1. Long-term use of the accompanying cup may accelerate oxidation and deterioration. 2. Copying the proportion of hot coffee is easy to cause iced coffee to be too light and tasteless. 3. Mistaken belief that you can only use dark roasted beans, ignoring the fruity level of shallow roasted beans. 4. Improper storage at high temperatures. Coffee beans are easy to deteriorate quickly. Only by mastering the correct brewing and preservation methods can you drink safely and deliciously. News highlights: many people have a habit of filling up their fuel, but the Ministry of Environment reminds that it should be changed to just jump and stop to avoid forced refueling that can lead to the escape of oil and gas. If you continue to refuel, you will not only release harmful gases, endanger health and air quality, but may also be fined more than 5,000 yuan for violating the air pollution law. Correct refueling habits can take into account health, environmental protection, and purse, and it is recommended that car owners develop a rational concept of refueling. News highlights: after the shutdown of Unit 2 of the No. 3 nuclear power plant, Taiwan entered the non-nuclear era, but frequent power outages caused people to worry about the lack of electricity. A spokesperson for Taipower clarified that power outages do not mean power shortages, and that most power outages come from factors such as aging equipment, animal interference, man-made and natural disasters, and have nothing to do with power generation. In recent years, Taipower has been actively improving the power grid, significantly reducing the number of power outages, and promoting a 564.5 billion yuan plan to strengthen the power grid, accelerate the replacement of old equipment, and strengthen the stability of power supply. News highlights: Japan's 20-year government bond auction was sluggish, and the bid multiple fell to a 12-year low, causing panic in the market. Chen Fengzhen and experts pointed out that the myth of Japanese bonds is disintegrating, coupled with the decline in confidence in the U.S. bond market, forming a double financial crisis. The end of the Bank of Japan's easing, rising inflation and Trump's pressure to appreciate the value have put Japan in a dilemma of raising interest rates and fiscal collapse. The Fed is also implementing QT while secretly buying bonds to stabilize the market, showing that the bond market is seriously lacking in confidence. The global financial order is facing a restructuring, and investors need to be vigilant. News highlights: mosquitoes are not particularly fond of biting people who eat meat, have acidic constitutions or type O blood, and the Ministry of Health and Welfare points out that there is no scientific basis for this. Mosquitoes rely mainly on carbon dioxide, body temperature, clothing color, sweat smell, and body odor after drinking alcohol to find their targets. People who are large, have a high body temperature, wear dark-colored clothing, sweat easily, or have a bad smell on their bodies are more likely to be bitten. Dermatologists recommend applying ice, cooling creams, or antihistamine-containing anti-itch ointments to relieve symptoms after a sting. To prevent mosquitoes, it is advisable to wear light-colored long-sleeved trousers and use insect repellents containing DEET and permethrin to effectively reduce the risk of bites. News highlights: affected by the U.S. tariff war, Taiwan stocks suffered a panic crash in early April, resulting in a book loss of 199 billion yuan and a yield of -2.90% for the Labor Fund this year, of which the new Labor Refund Fund lost 130.5 billion yuan, with an average loss of about 10,000 yuan per worker. Taiwan stocks fell the most in a single month, hitting a record high of 9.7%. The U.S. tariff policy has sparked recession fears, and the International Monetary Fund has also revised its global economic growth forecast downward. The Labor Fund emphasizes the stability of long-term investment, with an average return of about 6% in the past 10 years, calling for a focus on long-term performance. News highlights: since May, China has deployed 50 to 70 warships and government vessels in the Yellow, East, Taiwan and South China Seas, and has coordinated with hundreds of military aircraft to frequently disrupt Taiwan in an effort to exert maximum pressure on the first island chain. These include military exercises, gray zone operations, and smuggling activities in an attempt to enhance military deterrence, demonstrate control over the island chain, and challenge international rules through regular military exercises, enhance the effectiveness of legal warfare, and create sovereignty disputes. According to the analysis of the National Security Unit, China's move is aimed at escalating its posture at any time, demonstrating its military presence, and changing the existing international perception through long-term law enforcement. News highlights: the new crown epidemic is raging, and the number of confirmed cases has risen for 7 consecutive weeks, and there have been 102 complicated severe cases and 19 deaths in a single week, both hitting a new high this year. According to the CDC, this wave of the epidemic has exceeded the level of the same period last year, and is expected to reach a peak in late June to early July, with as many as 200,000 patients per week and a cumulative total of 1.7 million to 1.8 million confirmed cases from June to early August. Some people have begun to buy quick screening and masks, hoping to do a good job of protection so as not to be recruited again. News highlights: after the Chinese Army received the first batch of 38 M1A2T main combat vehicles at the end of last year, the second batch of 42 vehicles is suspected to have been exposed at U.S. ports recently, and it is expected to arrive in Taiwan by the end of this month. Equipped with 3-color jungle camouflage and an exclusive ACPS auxiliary cooling power system, the Taiwanese Abram vehicles are undergoing pre-army reformation training and are expected to be officially launched in the second half of the year. Defense Minister Gu Liqiang said that a live-fire drill will be launched this month at the Kengzikao shooting range in Hsinchu to enhance combat capability and train actual combat readiness. News highlights: Choi Sung-won became popular for playing Deshan's younger brother Chang Yehui in the Korean drama Please Answer 1988, but he temporarily left the entertainment industry to concentrate on treatment due to acute leukemia. Recently, he shared the latest progress of his recovery through social media. Although he was slightly emaciated, his complexion rebounded, and he actively returned to normal life, and also responded to fan interaction with humor. After a relapse in 2020, he retreated for more than a year to recuperate, but now his health is stable, and he has made a comeback in the new drama Pyramid Game, showing signs of improvement. News highlights: Shiseido's daughter Lee Mi has been married for 4 years, and last year she was promoted to a 5-treasure mother by the twins. 3 months ago, she underwent a facelift surgery and recently underwent scar trimming surgery, and she thought she was recovering well after the surgery, but the wound suddenly cracked open and a large amount of blood sprayed during the aerial dance class, which shocked the audience. After emergency suturing, it was learned that strenuous exercise should be avoided for 2 weeks after surgery. She also wanted to make a leather bag or keyring from the cut belly, but was unable to do so due to regulatory restrictions. News highlights: Walai Lottery has not opened the jackpot for 27 consecutive periods, and the prize money is 840 million yuan today. Second. Numerologist Yang Dengsheng pointed out that the 4 zodiac signs of rabbit, horse, monkey, and dog are particularly prosperous, and they are all good in fortune and have a higher chance of winning the lottery. Tips for good luck include: choose a lottery shop located due north or east, wear blue, black and green clothing, and use facial methods such as rubbing your nose and pulling your earlobes to enhance your wealth and good fortune. The god of wealth is located due north and east, and it is recommended to buy in this direction to help increase good luck. News highlights: Ji Ziajun, a 47-year-old Aboriginal golden song singer, has faded out of the entertainment industry in recent years, and he and her husband Sun Ting Gao operate food stalls such as Soju Chicken and Spicy Chicken Feet in Tatung, and their business is booming. Last night, Sun Ting Gao caused a gas explosion due to incomplete combustion of the gas stove, causing second-degree burns, and gauze wrapped around his hands, feet, and neck. She responded to fans that the injury was fine, she would take strong care of her husband, and the stall was still open for business, which was jointly operated by her and the store manager. News highlights Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council launched an investigation into artists accused of cooperating with the CCP's United Front work, and named a number of artists, including Lulian and others. Lulian responded strongly on Weibo, criticizing the DPP for its incompetence and expressing a firm pro-China stance, believing that the two sides of the strait have the same roots, hoping to stand with the motherland and not be afraid of investigation. She also countered the DPP's accusations against her, arguing that it was political repression. This incident has aroused heated discussions among the networks on both sides of the strait, and both support and opposition have been raised. News highlights Yang Nini returned to Taiwan with her half-year-old son at the end of April. Her son was diagnosed with new crown pneumonia and fought the virus for the first time. Sister Yang Nana recently due to political stance may be revoked Taiwanese nationality and other rumors. The official has clarified the untrue. The two recently appeared in a Chinese concert to support Yang Nana. The family atmosphere is warm. News highlights 43-year-old actress Huang Xiaoro debuted from the girl group, transformed behind the scenes to serve as a producer, screenwriter, and other multiple positions, filming the short drama The Rise of Internet Celebrities. During the process, due to stress, he suffered from panic attacks, severe hair loss, and even suspected cancer, which was improved by counseling and medication. She admitted that family and career pressures coexist, and thanked her husband for his support and companionship. Huang Xiaoro emphasized that communication is the key to maintaining a marriage, and plans to step into the creation of novels in the future to show her versatile side. News highlights the second round of peace talks between Russia and Ukraine began in Istanbul, Turkey, on June 2, but the fighting situation heated up sharply on the eve of the negotiations. Russia launched more than 470 drone attacks on Ukraine, causing many casualties. Ukraine recently launched a drone raid codenamed Spider Web, bombing 4 Russian air bases and destroying about 41 warplanes, the largest attack since the war, causing the Russian army to lose about $7 billion. Despite the tense situation, the two sides have continued to negotiate, with the Ukrainian side demanding a comprehensive ceasefire and the release of prisoners of war and abducted children, while the Russian side has received a peace memorandum from the Ukrainian side. News highlights the first prize of the 1140000043 phase of Taiwan lottery is even 27 turtles, and the jackpot is estimated to reach 840 million yuan in the 1140000044 phase of the draw on June 2. Past statistics show that the most frequently drawn hot number in District 1 is 24, which has appeared 322 times, while 2 is the most frequent in District 2 with 250 times. Last year, Power Lottery won a total of 6 jackpots of 100 million yuan. Kaohsiung City won 2 times, and the other winners were distributed in Taichung, Tainan, Dawan, and Keelung. About 700 billion yuan of prizes are randomly selected by the computer, and about 20% of the winners bet on the same set of numbers for more than 2 periods to win. This year, the hot numbers are 17 and 29 in Zone 1, and 4 and 2 in Zone 2. News highlights Li Junli, Secretary General of the Supervision Yuan, announced his resignation yesterday, evening because he was exposed to the abuse of official cars for personal use. Li Hongjun, Vice President of the Supervision Yuan, held a press conference on the 2nd to publicly apologize, saying that he had approved Li Junli's resignation, and announced the completion of the adjustment of the system for the use of official cars, and private use was strictly prohibited. The other 3 supervisors were also transferred to the disciplinary committee of the prison for handling on suspicion of improper use of official vehicles. Li Hongjun stressed that the supervisory committee exercises its functions and powers independently, and individual violations are deliberated by the disciplinary committee. News highlights Taiwanese billiards Golden Plan player Ye Yishan was disqualified from the Grand Slam by the Billiards Association due to the conflict between the Asian Youth Championship and the WTT US Grand Slam, which caused controversy. Sports director Zheng Shizhong was furious, and sent a letter to the Table Association to improve and publicly apologize, otherwise he would stop supporting it and demand a change in the management team. The Table Association not only did not deal with it in a low-key manner, but instead made public the full text of the letter from the sports administration, which was accused of being provocative. Zhuang Ziwen, the godfather of billiards, expressed his support for the reform of the system, emphasizing the transparency of the system and the optimization of governance, but hoped that the sports department would carefully consider the players and the training environment, maintain the stability of the subsidy, and avoid affecting the rights and interests of the players. News highlights recently, many Chinese people in Taiwan have broadcast live on the streets, and even found secretly filming students in front of the school, causing panic among the people. Political worker Zhou Xian shared that his mother was also secretly photographed by a woman with a Chinese accent at the MRT station, and found a photo of a middle school student's chest number from the other party's mobile phone, which was creepy. Zhou Xian questioned whether the clandestine filming was a coincidence, speculating that they may have been collecting information to use as material for AI simulations or deep-faked films. This incident has also alerted the public, calling for increased vigilance and calling the police at any time to take precautions, believing that this is part of the CCP's possible surveillance and cognitive warfare against Taiwan. News highlights: a man on a motorcycle abused a volunteer and used 3 characters to intimidate a citizen group in Taichung's ouster of Land Commissar Luo Tinggui's campaign in April. The man argued that he was provoked, but the prosecution reviewed the surveillance footage and found that his actions amounted to the crime of blatant insult, and a public prosecution was initiated. The campaign emphasizes the constitutional right to recall and calls for respect for democratic procedures, opposition to verbal violence, and protection of the safe exercise of civil rights by volunteers and the public. News highlights: veteran actor Li Lacun has moved to China for development in recent years, and his position has repeatedly caused controversy. Recently, he cooperated with his daughter Li Yuan to shoot the big propaganda film The Direction of Home, which advocates one family on both sides of the strait, which uses family affection as a metaphor for the reunification of the two sides of the strait, and repeatedly emphasizes the political meaning of "if you don't die, you will return." The film cost more than $120 million, but only sold about 80,000 yuan at the box office in 3 days of release in China, and was rated by Chinese media as the most tragic domestic film of the week. News highlights: the Remembering Nothing Happens recall team led by Li Xiaoyang, a youth army of the Kuomintang, faced a second-order deadline for signatures, calling for assistance from inside and outside the party. Councillor Zhong Xiaoping personally handed over 1,049 signatures on the 2nd, but there were still about 10,000 copies away from the target, causing netizens to question the insufficient number and leave a message mocking "what is the situation now?" Li Xiaoyang said that he still needs to work harder, and hopes that the first-order joint signature can be smoothly converted to the second order, and he will strive to succeed in the recall. News highlights: on May 19, a violent car accident occurred in the Three Gorges district of New Taipei City, resulting in the death of 2 students and 1 parent, and the 78-year-old man surnamed Yu died on May 31 after 13 days of rescue, with a total of 4 deaths in the accident. Forensic Dr. Gao Dachin pointed out that the focus of the autopsy was to clarify whether Yu Weng had a fatal disease and the specific cause of death, so as to explain it to the family. The case was closed due to the death of the perpetrator, and the lawyer said that the victim could claim compensation from Yu Weng's estate through a civil lawsuit, but the amount of compensation may exceed the total amount of the estate, and the victim may not be able to obtain full compensation. News highlights: veteran singer Huang An debuted for more than 41 years, became famous with New Mandarin Duck Butterfly Dream, moved to China in 1998, continued to make pro-China remarks, and was regarded as a licking artist, but still retained Taiwanese nationality. Recently, some netizens exposed the picture of his 62-year-old commercial performance on Douyin, with obvious fortune, deepened eye bags, hoarse singing, and a much worse state than before, which aroused heated discussions among Chinese netizens. The MAC clarified that Huang An's nationality had been revoked and that he had been banned from entering Taiwan for advocating military reunification, and the MAC clarified that this was a false news and called on the public not to believe the rumors. News highlights: Aboriginal singer Ji Xiajun, who once won the Golden Melody Award for Best Newcomer, has faded out of the entertainment industry in recent years, and set up a stall with her husband in Taitung to sell soju chicken and spicy chicken feet, and the business is booming. Recently, she revealed in the community that her husband was injured due to a gas furnace explosion, and his hands, feet, and neck were wrapped in gauze, and he was urgently sent to the hospital for treatment, which made her feel distressed. Ji Xiajun admitted that she was so sad that she had insomnia and cried, but she still faced it strongly, thanked netizens for their concern, and said that the injury was not as serious as imagined, and she would take good care of her husband and continue to run her business. News highlights: China has recently circulated a list of Taiwan province patriotic artists on Weibo, naming 20 Taiwanese artists including Wu Yang Nana, Ho Pizhen, Jie Zhou, Zhang Xiaohan, and Lin Zhiying, because they have developed in China and expressed their identification with China. The artists on the list have repeatedly supported the One China stance and cooperated with China's propaganda. In this regard, Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council stressed that such acts cross the social red line and will be investigated and dealt with in accordance with the regulations on relations between the people on the two sides of the Taiwan Strait in accordance with the law, and the Ministry of Culture will also investigate whether or not they cooperate with the Chinese party, government, and military and strictly deal with relevant violations. News highlights: the jackpot has not been drawn for 27 consecutive periods, and tonight's jackpot looks at 840 million yuan, and the estimated sales amount is about 200 million yuan. Tarot teacher Xiao Meng named the zodiac pigs, sheep, dogs, and snakes to be wealthy, and it is recommended to seize the good luck period from 11 noon to 3 p.m., go to the south of the god of wealth to place bets, and match specific foods and accessories to enhance financial luck. The popular numbers in the past years include 24, 3, 4, 38, and 15, and this year 17, 29, and District 24 are the most frequently drawn. Nearly 700 billion yuan of winners used computer numbers to win the lottery. News highlights 75-year-old veteran actress Guo Mizu had her right breast removed due to second-stage breast cancer 14 years ago, and her left breast was urgently removed due to breast cancer recurrence 2 years ago, and all breasts were removed. She underwent 20 proton treatments, did not have chemotherapy, and avoided gatherings due to low immunity to prevent infection. Guo Mizu had a severe cough due to lung conditions, but Gen Z photography showed no abnormality. 14 years ago, I underwent breast reconstruction with my own abdominal tissue, and after many treatments, I am still facing the condition positively. News highlights after the Golden Song Zhang Yuan has been suffering from Parkinson's disease and brain tumor for many years. She released a new album Play a Song in December last year, and was shortlisted for the Golden Melody Award for Best Taiwanese Female Singer. She admitted that singing became very difficult and painful, and she wanted to give up, but she persevered with the encouragement of her friends Lu Qingqi and Chen Qiahua. Zhang Yuan said that the recording process was difficult, and her physical condition made her feel frustrated and depressed. Her song Wait reflects the pain of many years of illness, and she feels heartache when netizens question pretending to be sick, and hopes to encourage patients to face life bravely with her own experience. News highlights a time-honored cake shop in Kaohsiung was complained by consumers that live cockroaches were found in the chocolate cake purchased on May 28, causing food safety concerns. The industry said that there were no cockroaches when it was boxed that day, and the consumer only ate it the next day and reported that it had been refunded but did not agree to its additional request. The Kaohsiung Municipal Health Bureau sent personnel to inspect and found that the operator had not established a temperature record and the refrigeration equipment was not clean, and requested that it be improved within a time limit, otherwise it would be fined. The industry stresses the importance of food safety, and if the cockroaches are suspected to be feed cockroaches, they will be sent for inspection and may take legal action. News highlights the annual Harper's Bazaar ceremony in mainland China was star-studded, with stars such as Yang Mi, Zhang Zhen, Sun Li, and Lin Chiliang attending in full costumes. The red carpet camera signature link became the focus, and when Sun Li performed an ancient salute to Lin Chiliang, her eyes did not seem to be facing Lin Chiliang, which caused embarrassment and heated discussions among netizens. Some people criticized Sun Li for being rude, and some said that the two were not familiar or Sun Li was incapable of dealing with many guests. Later, a video showed that the two had a harmonious atmosphere backstage, or the situation was complicated at the time and led to a misunderstanding. News highlights in a horrific incident in South Sulawesi Province, Indonesia, a 66-year-old woman, Hasaya, disappeared after going out, and her family and villagers searched for a giant python about 6 meters long with a bulging abdomen, which was suspected of having swallowed her. Everyone worked together to kill the python and cut it out, and sure enough, they found the woman's body curled up in it, with no signs of life. It is reported that the python pounced on Hasaya and bit his leg, and after struggling, it was still crushed to death. Local police reminded residents to be cautious when walking in woodland to avoid being attacked by pythons. News highlights Zhang Lili, who used to be the head of China Television, served as the host of the Taipei charity concert today, and at the age of 62, her appearance is still eye-catching, and she laughs and calls herself a noble woman, a woman who kneels on the ground and mops the floor. She starred in many dramas in the past, faded out of the showbiz after marrying wealthy businessman Lin Date in 1987, and rediscovered herself after divorce in 2009. Zhang Lili has 2 sons who live comfortably and have no intention of remarrying, and the sons live in Thailand and the United States. She admits that she has little interest in immigrating to the United States and likes to stay in Taiwan to meet with friends. News highlights a heated dispute broke out between the sports department and the Billiards Association over the revocation of Ye Yishan's qualification. The Table Association asked Ye to participate in the Asian Youth Championships and gave up the U.S. Grand Slam, but revoked her Grand Slam qualification, causing controversy. Sports director Zheng Shizhong gave the Table Association one day to publicly apologize and improve, otherwise it would stop supporting and suggest that the Table Association withdraw collectively. Zheng emphasized that the new generation of sports management should be player-centric, and the management of the Cricket Table Association cannot keep up with the times. The Table Association said that due to the collision of the event, national honor will be given priority, and experts will be invited to discuss improvement plans. News highlights on April 14 this year, Taiwan's high-speed rail train 204 had its first non-stop incident in 18 years of operation, driving the car door and leaving the station, causing more than 150 passengers to be delayed. The investigation confirmed that the driver had committed 2 negligences by failing to confirm the information with the train controller as required and not listening to the conductor in full. The high-speed rail recorded a major driving demerit, and the relevant supervisors were also recorded as admonishments and warnings. The high-speed rail stressed that the investigation and punishment have been completed, and the safety SOP will be strictly implemented to prevent similar incidents from happening again. News highlights the appreciation of the Taiwan dollar is beneficial to tourism and bulk materials, but the profits of the export electronics industry are compressed, and leading shareholders such as TSMC and Quanta will attract much attention. Trump's trip to the Middle East in the United States has brought large orders for AI servers. NVIDIA Jensen Huang is optimistic about AI infrastructure, and NVIDIA's overseas center has settled in Taipei to assist Taiwan's AI industry. Test interface factories Yingwei and Guangxi benefited from the growth of high-end demand for chips. Bulk materials and tourism stocks performed well, especially Lion and Shanfu EPS hit new highs, and the overall market showed a divergent trend under the exchange rate and tariff variables. News highlights the number of coronavirus cases is rising rapidly, and medical institutions are overcrowded. Zhang Hong, an otolaryngologist, said that about half of the patients with fever are infected with the new crown, and the symptoms are indistinguishable from the general upper respiratory tract infection. People over the age of 65 or those with chronic diseases should pay special attention and treat them early. The CDC predicts that the peak of the epidemic will fall in late June to early July, and calls on the public to wear masks in medical institutions, public transportation, and crowded places to strengthen protection. News highlights the Queen Jolin Tsai and Peng Yuan have been in a secret relationship for 3 years, and it was recently rumored that they have been together for 6 years, which has aroused heated discussions. Veteran media person Su Shenmei recalled the experience of following Jolin Tsai back then, revealing that she did a good job of secrecy, but the reporter only photographed her dog Woohoo for many days, and laughed that it is cuter than Peng Yuan. Jolin Tsai was very low-key when she was dating Peng Yuan, almost no photos in the same frame, and only once she was photographed entering and leaving Peng Yuan's house, but the explanation was that she was playing electric with friends, showing that the private lives of the two were properly protected. News highlights on June 12, the Zodiac career horoscope is released, and the rooster has outstanding performance, high work efficiency, and is expected to be promoted and improve professional skills. The work tasks of cattle, sheep, and dogs were successfully completed and affirmed. Dragons, snakes, and horses have the help of nobles and usher in new opportunities. Rats and rabbits need to pay attention to details and avoid small mistakes. Tigers and monkeys need to be cautious about interpersonal relationships and improve mobility. Pigs may face job changes, so it is advisable to communicate actively and be attentive. On the whole, most zodiac signs have a stable career fortune in June and have the opportunity to break through themselves. News highlights Taiwan stocks fluctuated wildly this quarter, with a weighted index spread of 4,573 points. Looking forward to June, experts expect the market to be long and short, and tariffs are still the biggest uncertainties, but the overall benefits outweigh the negatives. The weighted index will find support at the 21,000 point quarterly line and have a chance to challenge the 22,300 point annual line. There are 6 major positives for Taiwan stocks, including good revenue performance in May, strong seasonality of U.S. stocks in June, declining financing balances, strong momentum of domestic investment, strong attraction of foreign capital in the new Taiwan dollar, and the release of profits from shareholders' meetings. However, it is necessary to pay attention to the uncertainty of semiconductor tariffs, the impact of the appreciation of the new Taiwan dollar on profits, and the high pressure of foreign short orders. Bullish on AI, high dividend stocks, and financial stocks. Fubon Warrior strategy focuses on treasury stocks, robots, AI, high dividend value stocks, ETFs, and Netcom stocks. News highlights the long-term correlation between the yield of U.S. Treasury bonds and the U.S. dollar has broken down in recent days, and the correlation fell to a nearly 3-year low last month. Trump's policy uncertainty and doubts about the independence of the Federal Reserve have exacerbated the market's risk-off pressure. Treasury yields soared after Trump announced tariffs in April, but the dollar index lost nearly 5% over the same period. Moody's downgrade of the U.S. credit rating and Trump's slamming of the Fed have deepened the panic in the market. Analysts pointed out that the U.S. Treasury yields are decoupled from the U.S. dollar, and investors are facing a safe haven challenge, and it is recommended to increase the euro, yen, Swiss franc, and gold to cope with the weakness of the U.S. dollar and new risks. News highlights the NTD appreciated strongly by 6.98% in May, the largest monthly increase in 36 years, and the cumulative increase this year reached 9.53, ranking first among major Asian currencies. The head of the bank pointed out that the trend of the Taiwan dollar in June will be affected by 3 key events. First, the U.S. Federal Reserve, Fed, monetary policy meeting and the release of the dot plot on June 18, and the market is concerned about whether the interest rate will remain unchanged. Second, the U.S. Supreme Court's verdict on Trump's dominance of tariff policy has affected regional currency fluctuations. Third, the release of the U.S. Treasury Department's report on the exchange rate of the United States may affect whether the Taiwan dollar is included in the list. It is estimated that the Taiwan dollar will fluctuate around 30 yuan in June. News highlights the central bank continues to strengthen measures to crack down on housing speculation, and recently explicitly prohibits banks from setting up a second priority mortgage on real estate in the form of secured financing for housing loan life insurance premiums, requiring that the financing of housing loan life insurance premiums must be unsecured, and strictly restricting the use of volume transfer to set up mortgages in civil construction and financing. These meticulous control measures have made the head of the Bank of China call it unprecedented, indicating that the central bank strictly prevents the market from increasing real estate credit through a variety of loan methods, so as to avoid excessive inflow of bank funds into the housing market. News highlights: Taiwan stocks rose 5.5% in May, with foreign investors buying more than 219.9 billion yuan, heavily betting on financial stocks, and 8 of the top 10 overbought stocks were financial stocks, and Taiwan Cement Corporation was the only traditional property stock in overbought TSMC. In terms of technology, the AI theme continued to attract funds, and Nvidia's better-than-expected performance drove the growth of Taiwan's supply chain. However, due to the appreciation of the new Taiwan dollar and the intensification of market volatility, investors should have a balanced layout, and in addition to technology stocks, they can also pay attention to financial and high-yield stocks to cope with short-term shocks and stock rotation. News highlights: Trump's core economic aides have insisted that the tariffs will never be reversed, even though the federal court ruled that some of the tariffs exceeded executive authority, and the Federal Appeals Court has suspended the ruling. The White House is confident that the Supreme Court will support the tariffs, and if blocked, there are alternative legal tools to push the policy forward. The White House worries that if the court overturns the tariff ruling, it will weaken the U.S. bargaining chips. Trump warned that if the ruling is unfavorable, other countries will retaliate with anti-U.S. tariffs, which could lead to the collapse of the U.S. economy. News highlights: according to the latest quarterly report of Jijia.com, in the first quarter, the housing prices of the 6 capitals rose slightly by 0.6% except for New Taipei, and the other 5 cities fell by an average of 1.2%, and the housing market entered the adjustment stage from south to north. Tainan and Kaohsiung have converged, Shuangbei has consolidated and resisted, and Taipei, Shilin and Baitu are the most resilient, driven by the AI industry. In the second half of the year, there will be multiple negative impacts, but the expansion of the AI industry will provide support for the housing market, and the decline is expected to be limited, and the decline is expected to stop in the third quarter of 2026. News highlights: former Tokyo clothing founder Joe Pinjun recently experienced a series of oolong situations when he bought a bag at LV in Ginza, Japan. When checking out, they were brought into a small black room to wait, the tax refund process was repeatedly redone, and the clerk even had to re-swipe the card after settling the wrong bill. The most exaggerated thing is that she walked a few steps away from the store only to find that the paper bag was empty, the bag was missing, and she returned to the store to get the goods back. This allowed her to break the impression of cautious service in Japanese boutiques, reminding consumers to always check carefully on the spot when buying boutiques. News highlights: William, a member of Lollipop, was investigated and posted on bail of 500,000 yuan on suspicion of falsifying medical records to evade military service, resulting in his removal from 4 programs and a loss of about 500,000 yuan in monthly income. Another member, the Prince, was also exempted from military service, and was originally scheduled to attend a public welfare event with Tao Jingying on May 27, but was temporarily absent for fear of being asked about military service. Except for Xiao Yu, who frankly admitted that he was exempted from military service due to illness, the other members have not yet explained. The William incident made Lollipop fit the reality show Come On, where To Fear 2 is suspended. The members are busy, and there is still a chance to be together in the future. News highlights: South Korean King GD recently marked twice member Sana on his official IG and wrote "Hey" in Japanese. Sparked rumors of love. The GD agency responded that he participated in the Sana festival in April, and then marked Sana when he watched the Coldplay concert, which was only due to the closeness after the shooting, not a romantic relationship. The company also said that GD was invited by his friend Dex to appear in the show, and Sana only confirmed his participation the day before the recording, and did not clarify in time to avoid spoilers. News highlights: the suspension of the U.S. China tariff war has led to a sharp rise in global shipping demand, with Shanghai's export container freight index soaring by more than 30%, and Taiwan's Container 3 Evergreen, Yangming and Wanhai shareholders have shown cautious optimism. U.S. merchants rushed to replenish space, driving freight rates and cargo volumes to recover, but the global economic slowdown, trade war, and geopolitical risks still exist. Yangming strengthened the north-south fleet layout and digital transformation, and Wanhai expanded new routes. The legal person warns that the tariff grace period is approaching. If there is no agreement, it may affect market demand and the economy, and shipping may face the challenge of excess capacity in the second half of the year, and the risk of market volatility will remain, and shipping companies need to carefully adjust their operational strategies. News highlights: colorectal surgeon Chan Wei-ya reminds that proper toilet cleaning can help prevent hemorrhoids and infections. At home, it is recommended to use a toilet bowl or shower head with warm water to clean it, and then pat it dry with toilet paper to avoid excessive water pressure and extreme water temperature. Dry erasers can be replaced with low irritant wipes to reduce friction damage. When buying wet wipes, avoid products containing alcohol and fragrances. Good anal hygiene habits help maintain healthy skin and personal hygiene. News highlights former U.S. President Donald Trump's company plans to raise $2.5 billion to build a Bitcoin vault and insists on opposing central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, to promote stablecoins. The Trump family's conflict of interest in crypto assets has sparked regulatory controversy. Although Congress tried to legislate to regulate stablecoins, it was torn off due to political entanglements. The U.S. government views stablecoins as an important tool to support the renewal of treasury bonds. Many countries around the world are accelerating the promotion of a stablecoin legal system, and Taiwan also plans to introduce relevant bills in 2025 to actively respond to the trend of digital currencies and strive not to be absent from the international trend. News highlights. According to a special report on the disturbance of the Earth's magnetic field, the Space Weather Office of the Meteorological Administration issued a special report on the disturbance of the Earth's magnetic field, which will intensify to the G4 strong magnetic storm level from 8 o'clock tonight and last for about 51 hours due to the influence of the solar coronal mass ejection, CME, on May 31st. This phenomenon can cause high-frequency radio interference, reduced satellite positioning accuracy, and low-frequency radio interruptions, with aurora activity occurring as low as 45 degrees latitude. The power system may face misjudgment of voltage control and protection, and space vehicles will also need to adjust their attitude to cope with the impact. News highlights. A major car accident occurred in Kaohsiung at nearly 7 o'clock last night. A 27-year-old man surnamed Liu rode a red-plate heavy plane straight to Zhongzheng Road, and was hit by a 62-year-old man surnamed Chen driving a left-turn recreational vehicle at the intersection of Dapi Road. The police pointed out that the measured value of Chen Nan's liquor was 0, and the detailed responsibility and cause of the accident are still to be further investigated and clarified. News highlights. The Central Meteorological Administration pointed out that due to the influence of the stranded front and southwest winds, the weather in Taiwan is unstable from today to Wednesday, and a special report on heavy rain and strong winds on land has been issued to remind the public to be cautious of lightning strikes, strong winds, flooding and landslides. From now on, the rainfall in the south will increase, and the mountainous areas in the central and southern parts of the country must be protected from rockfalls and collapses. The western half and mountainous areas are prone to thunder showers in the afternoon, and the north will turn cool and rainy from Wednesday, and the front will move south on Thursday, and there will still be a chance of rain in the central and southern regions, and thunder showers may also occur in the afternoon over the weekend. News highlights. Some netizens asked on Threads what is the difference between cubes white, red and blue, which caused stationery manufacturers to respond. Hong Kong Feelong said that in the early years, the functions of red and blue were different. Blue was a universal model, and red was a quick-drying type, but now the two fillers have been unified, only the packaging is different. Another netizen added that some brands are still designed according to paper differences, such as red for general paper and blue for smooth paper. Many people laughed and said that it was like whitewashing mistakes, just like politics. News highlights. Many people said that sleep quality affects work performance, and sleep conditions often become difficult as they age. Physician Wang Puihan suggested that cultivating a regular work and rest, avoiding the use of 3C and caffeine before bedtime, and relaxing before bedtime can help improve sleep. In addition, dietary supplements such as GABA, sesamin, tryptophan, saffron, and other nutrients, combined with probiotics to adjust the intestinal flora, are helpful for mood and sleep. Choosing a health supplement that contains food-grade botanical extracts can improve the overall benefits. News highlights. Li Junli, Secretary General of the Supervision Yuan, was exposed to abuse of official cars to pick up and drop off dogs, pick up and deliver meals, etc., causing controversy, and resigned on June 1. On the 2nd, the Beijing Procuratorate officially filed a case for investigation of Li Junli's accusations of breach of trust, embezzlement, and corruption, and handed it over to the prosecutor of the Procuratorial and Anti-Black Gold Special Unit for investigation. Mr. Li has admitted to picking up and dropping off his dog, denied other charges, and stressed that he paid for his official car. Investigation and clarification of the case are ongoing. News highlights. Affected by the tightening of bank mortgages and the Trump tariff war, the housing market is bearish, and experts warn that Taiwanese builders may usher in a wave of bankruptcies. Li Tongrong, a real estate market expert, pointed out that builders will face three major crises: capital disconnection, forced construction, and the risk of bankruptcy. Recently, the growth of construction financing has slowed down, the amount of housing loans has decreased significantly, and the transaction volume of the housing market has also declined significantly. If the builder is still forced to push the case if the sales are not good, it may lead to a funding gap and the problem of unfinished buildings, which will further trigger a domino effect. News highlights. The 27th phase of the Power Color Leverage. Today, 2nd, the jackpot is 840 million yuan, and the numerologist Xiao Meng named the pig, sheep, dog, and snake 4 zodiac signs with good fortune, and recommended betting between 11 o'clock at noon and 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and acting towards the south is auspicious. Fortune-boosting tips include eating food corresponding to the 5 elements, wearing crystal jewelry, and choosing a specific location to purchase lottery tickets. According to the statistics of Taiwan Lottery, the most commonly drawn numbers in District 1 are 24 and District 2 2, and the popular numbers this year are 17, 29, and 4. News highlights Taichung Mayor Liu Zaihuan expressed opposition to the issue of changing the names of Zhongzheng and Jingguo Road proposed by the Ministry of the Interior on the 2nd, believing that the Taiwan authorities did not focus on fighting for the economy, but engaged in 543 all day long, which made people feel like a child. The more you talk about it, the more you are picky. She criticized the costly and non-ending move, and stressed that the focus should now be on the international situation and economic challenges. On the question of whether to run for party chairman, Liu only said thank you and left. News highlights the Ministry of Labor is expected to hold a minimum wage review meeting in the third quarter of this year, and it is estimated that the increase will be about 3%, and the monthly wage will be raised from 28,590 yuan to 29,450 yuan, and the hourly wage will be raised from 190 yuan to 196 yuan. The adjustment will be based on the data released by the Controller and Auditor's Office at the rate of economic growth of 3.1% and the annual growth rate of CPI of 1.88%, which will be the core of the discussion at the meeting. The actual adjustment is still to be decided by the deliberation meeting, and it is expected to be announced in September at the latest, and the results of the adjustment will affect the labor salary structure and enterprise costs, which has attracted much attention. News highlights in order to prevent fraud, 9 major banks in Taiwan have collectively cancelled the online account opening verification function of natural person certificates, including Mega Bank, First Bank, Huanan Bank, Cooperative Treasury, Taiwan Enterprise Bank, Zhonghua Bank, Taishan Bank, Tuyan, and Bank of Taiwan. Originally, it was possible to quickly apply for a digital account with a natural person's credentials, but as of the end of March this year, 0.28% of the accounts were listed as warning accounts for opening accounts through this method. The FSC confirmed this decision, and banks switched to other verification methods to protect customer security. News highlights Japanese geology expert Hiroki Kamada warned that the waters off Chiba Prefecture are closely related to the Great East Japan earthquake and are a high-risk area for earthquakes. In the 2030s, Japan is likely to experience major earthquakes such as the Nankai Trough earthquake and the Capital Direct earthquake, with a scale of up to 9.3 and a tsunami height of nearly 30 meters. Such disasters are estimated to cause huge economic losses, up to more than 31 trillion yen. Due to the high level of snow in Tohoku and Hokkaido, the risk of disasters is higher, and disaster preparedness needs to be strengthened. Kamada emphasized that the effects of the Great East Japan earthquake are not yet over, and that major earthquakes are still likely to occur in the next 20 years. News highlights the new crown epidemic continues to heat up, and the CDC estimates that it will reach a peak in late June and early July, with the cumulative number of confirmed medical visits reaching 1.7 million. Zhang Hong, an otolaryngologist, pointed out that the symptoms of the new crown are similar to those of a cold, but if there are 2 major symptoms, fever and aches, you should be screened at home as soon as possible. Those with mild symptoms are advised to rest more, drink more water, and those with obvious symptoms or advanced age and chronic diseases should seek medical attention as soon as possible, and take antiviral drugs if necessary. News highlights Ukraine's National Security Service launched a secret operation, codenamed Spider Web, using small drones hidden in containers to secretly transport them into Russia, launching raids on 4 military airfields including Belya Air Base, and blowing up at least 41 Russian fighters, mostly high-value strategic bombers and early warning aircraft. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called it a unique operation that had been orchestrated for a year and a half, destroying 34% of Russian long-range nuclear bombers. The Russian Ministry of Defense responded in a low-key manner to the fact that only a few planes caught fire, with no casualties, and arrested a number of suspects. At this time, the Ukrainian-Russian peace talks will resume in Turkey, but the war has heated up sharply. News highlights Ye Yixin, a 17-year-old disciple of Taiwan's billiards godfather Zhuang Ziwen, was originally invited to participate in the WTT US Grand Slam in July, but was unilaterally disqualified by the Republic of China Billiards Association, causing controversy. Zheng Shizhong, director of sports, severely criticized the association's unwillingness to focus on players, refuses to communicate and admit mistakes, and issued an ultimatum to the association, demanding that the association apologize within 24 hours. Zheng Shizhong emphasized that the meaning of the association's existence is to serve the players, and named Yang Zhengxiang, vice chairman of the association, to manage the problem, hoping that the members of the association will carefully choose leaders to avoid the influence of head members on the election. He called on the Table Association to change its mentality, take players as the foundation, and lead the development of national billiards. News highlights from July 1 to August 31, Taiwan High-Speed Rail will launch the Youth Discount Project, where teenagers aged 12 to 18 can enjoy a 5%, 75%, or 88% discount on designated trains, and tickets will go on sale in the early morning of June 3 to encourage summer vacations to explore Taiwan. In addition, there are also discounts for off-campus teaching groups, with groups of more than 11 people below high school taking the designated train. Students can enjoy 75% off, teachers can enjoy 75% off, Primary school students and those who meet the preferential status of respecting the elderly and children can enjoy 4% off, and can make an appointment for a guided tour of the station and the exploratorium. You need to bring a valid ID card, and you can book tickets through multiple channels such as the internet, app, and convenience stores, which is convenient and fast. News highlights at 7 p.m. yesterday. First, 2 men in the Taipei MRT carriage accidentally touched their legs while sitting side by side, and a verbal altercation broke out, and then they fought and frightened the passengers. The clash continued from Gyuding Station to Dongmen Station, and the police did not subside immediately after the police arrived at the scene, and both sides have filed injury complaints with the police. The MRT police reminded that public spaces should respect each other and maintain a sense of public morality to avoid similar incidents. Passengers also appealed to them to deal with small frictions calmly and not to let small things become big disasters. News highlights: some netizens witnessed a motorcyclist in Taichung City riding illegally on the sidewalk, and tied the dog leash to the handle at the back of the car, allowing the dog to chase the car behind, but the dog hit the roadside light pole and rolled to the ground in pain. This behavior has sparked condemnation from netizens, who believe that riding a bicycle and walking a dog too fast and in an inappropriate way has constituted animal cruelty. The police and animal protection units have intervened in the investigation, and if the abuse is confirmed, it will be dealt with in accordance with the law. Many people call for dog walking on the premise of safety and respect for animals, and avoid endangering the lives of furry children. News highlights: the Legislative Yuan passed the draft of the Special Regulations on Strengthening Economic and Social Resilience in the first instance, and Lanbai advocated universal cash to strengthen domestic demand, with an amount ranging from 6,000 to 10,000 yuan, covering the whole people and specific residents. If the third reading is passed in June, it will be issued in September at the earliest. The Executive Yuan believes that the current domestic demand is stable, and universal distribution is not the best means, and it is afraid of dispersing resources, and advocates focusing on industry and caring for the weak. The amount and method of distribution are still subject to further consultation and finalization between the government and the opposition. News highlights: Japanese former AV diva Sora Aoi announced that she will make a comeback as an actress to participate in the Big Boss Generation event held in Tsim Sha Tsui East, Hong Kong on June 14. Sora Aoi retired in 2017 and had twins after marriage, and the news of this comeback surprised many fans. News highlights: on April 14, Taiwan's high-speed rail had the first Bangqiao Station non-stop incident in 18 years since its opening, and the investigation results showed that the driver did not confirm the station information in accordance with the regulations and missed the remedial communication, resulting in passengers being unable to get on and off the train. The high-speed rail company has a serious driving record, and the supervisor and supervisor have been admonished and warned respectively, emphasizing that education and training will be strengthened to avoid the recurrence of similar negligence. News highlights: on May 30, there was a clandestine photography incident in Tainan Huzhizhou, where a female clerk found a man secretly photographing the bottom of his skirt, stopped it on the spot and called the police. After the police arrived at the scene to arrest the man, they found that he was an officer surnamed Chen, a major serving in the Army's 249th Brigade, and although he denied secretly taking pictures, the police still found a number of suspiciously indecent photos on his mobile phone and transferred him to the district prosecutor's office. The military said it would cooperate with the investigation and severely punish them in accordance with the principle of parallel criminal punishment. News highlights: a 25-year-old woman in Changsha, Hunan Province, mainland China, suffered from long-term numbness and pain in her right leg, and was found to have a foreign body in her body that had been pierced by a bamboo stick 16 years ago. The doctor uses X-rays to confirm the location of the foreign body and successfully removes it. Experts remind that even small wounds should not be ignored. Foreign body residues may cause infection, suppuration, and even life-threatening. If the puncture site is close to important tissues, do not remove it by yourself, and should seek medical attention immediately. News highlights: obesity in middle age may be a warning sign of sarcopenic obesity, which means that muscle mass is lost, fat is gained, and metabolism deteriorates, which can easily lead to uncontrolled blood sugar, insulin resistance, and an increased risk of cardiovascular disease and diabetes. Symptoms include wheezing, straining to lift heavy objects, and thinning of the calf circumference. Expert advice: balanced intake of protein and whole grains, vitamin D, and calcium supplementation, and regular aerobic and resistance exercise can effectively prevent and improve. News highlights: only about 30% of the people in Taiwan have regular exercise habits, and many young people neglect their health due to busy work. 37-year-old Xyli suffered from long-term stress and lack of exercise, resulting in autonomic nervous system disorders, insomnia, obesity and other symptoms. After adjusting her daily routine and resuming exercise, her symptoms improved significantly. Studies have shown that exercise strengthens muscles and brains, delays aging and prevents dementia. Exercising 3 times a week for 4 months can improve memory and overall health. The sooner you get into the habit of exercising, the more long-term benefits you can reap. News highlights: recently, the new crown epidemic has heated up, and it is estimated that the number of visits may exceed 100,000 in a single week, causing concerns about the shortage of drugs. The CDC clarified that the current stock of COVID-19 antiviral drugs, including about 460,000 doses of Paxlovid, and the flexible supply of contracts are sufficient to meet the needs of high-risk groups, accounting for about 20% of the total confirmed cases. At present, the infection is mainly mild, and most people do not need to use antiviral drugs. The CDC stressed that vaccination is still an important measure to prevent severe disease, and vaccination is not mandatory, and calls on the public to make their own judgments based on correct information. News highlights: on the evening of June 1, 2025, Taiwan ushered in a strong G4 magnetic storm, which is expected to last for 51 hours. Magnetic storms not only affect communications, satellites, and auroras. Medical studies have pointed out that the human body may also experience symptoms such as headaches, heart palpitations, insomnia, mood swings, etc. Especially those who are highly sensitive to magnetic storms should be more vigilant. Studies have shown that magnetic field disturbances affect the cardiovascular, autonomic nervous system and melatonin, increasing the risk of stroke and myocardial infarction. Experts recommend magnesium and potassium supplementation, stabilizing work and rest, reducing the use of electronic devices, and performing relaxation exercises to help stabilize circadian rhythms and emotional responses. News highlights: U.S. immigration officials raided an underground nightclub in Southern California in the early hours of May 30 and arrested 36 Taiwanese and Chinese who were illegally residing in the country. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security Investigations, (SHI), released footage of the raid, showing the arrested people sitting on the sidewalk and being put into a police car. Taiwan's Criminal Bureau said that due to the large number of people, the identity has yet to be confirmed, and the subsequent deportation and repatriation procedures will be handled in accordance with U.S. law, and will continue to be assisted by liaison officers in the United States. News highlights: Taiwan's weighted index for May rose 1,112.27 points, or 5.5%, to close at 21,347.30. According to statistics, the 8 major public stock banks sold ETFs in May, among which the giant baby ETF Yuan Taiwan Value High Interest, 00940, was sold sharply 21,000 shares and recovered 193 million yuan, causing retail investors to wail. The top 5 oversold ETFs also include 00929, 00981A, 0098005, and 00982A, and the market's confidence in high-yield ETFs has weakened significantly. News highlights: as long as the electricity consumption in the current period decreases compared with the same period last year, you can get a reward of 0.6 yuan for each kilowatt-hour of electricity in each province, and at least 84 yuan in a single period, and the maximum amount can be fully deducted from the electricity bill. Many people shared that through the power-saving matching activities, they almost did not pay their electricity bills for a whole year. Taipower reminds that you must actually save electricity and be eligible, if it is not a residential type or has a power outage, household separation, etc., you will not be able to receive the reward. News highlights: Chen Wolong, a physician at Curai Clinic, once made up his mind to lose weight due to myocardial infarction, and lost weight from 80 kilograms to 60 kilograms through the Mediterranean diet, the 211 plate rule and drinking apple cider vinegar before meals, and he has not gained weight for 15 years. He switched to low salt, low seasoning meals, changed white rice to vinegared rice to stabilize blood sugar, and paired with the principles of prototype food, no snacks, no sugary drinks, and no eating before bedtime. He emphasized that weight loss should be changed from daily habits to find a way that suits you, which is the way to be healthy and long-term. News highlights: mainland actress Sun Li became popular because of the legend of Zhen Huan in the harem, and it has recently been rumored that she may fade out of the showbiz and has quietly moved to London, England. It is reported that Sun Li's 2 children have enrolled in top private schools in London, and the focus of her family's life has gradually shifted to the United Kingdom. She obtained her Hong Kong status in 2014 to avoid the pressure of China's college entrance examination for her children, and now moving to London is seen as the result of a multi-year plan. Husband Deng Chao also turned his career focus to the world, although Sun Li did not officially announce her withdrawal, but the workload has been significantly reduced, and fans still support her and look forward to her return in the future. News highlights: Sun Yat-sen's eldest granddaughter, Sun Sui-ying, died on March 24 this year in California, USA, at the age of 103. Her younger sister, Sun Suwa, also died in California in April at the age of 96. Born in 1922 to Sun Ke, the mayor of Guangzhou, Sun Sui-ying spent her childhood in Guangzhou, Shanghai, Chongqing, and Hong Kong, where she served as secretary of the Chinese delegation to the United Nations, and had a close relationship with Sun Yat-sen's widow, Song Qingling. She has returned to China many times to visit relatives, donated a large number of cultural relics of the Sun family free of charge, and has been awarded a number of Cultural Heritage Contribution Awards. Sun Sui-ying and her sister have publicly clarified that they have no kinship with Sun Sifang, and Sun Sifang is accused of not being Sun Ke's biological daughter. News highlights: the asset size of global sovereign funds continues to reach new highs, and even former US President Donald Trump plans to set up a US version of sovereign funds. Taiwan is facing challenges such as financial resources, the legal system and social consensus, and whether it is necessary to establish a sovereign wealth fund has become a hot topic. Sovereign wealth funds are controlled by the state, and most of the funds come from foreign exchange reserves, energy revenues, or fiscal surpluses, with the goal of supporting the country's long-term fiscal and economic development through global investment allocation. President Lai Ching-te has said that the current is an ideal time to set up a sovereign wealth fund, and how Taiwan can find its position in the international capital market remains to be discussed. News highlights Fang Zuming, the son of Hong Kong star Jackie Chan, faded out of the showbiz after the marijuana smoking incident in 2014, and recently made a rare appearance at the wedding of his Korean friend Irene Kim, and his recent photos were exposed. Netizens found that his hairline receded significantly, his hair was thinning, he was suspected of baldness, and his appearance looked old, which became the focus of heated discussions. Many netizens bluntly said that he looked older than his father Jackie Chan, and there was a heated discussion about his image. News highlights the 65-year-old host was unfortunately suffering from severe mountain sickness caused cerebral edema when he challenged to climb the peak of Our Lady a few days ago, and was in a coma for 60 hours, and suffered from symptoms such as incontinence and inability to eat, and his life was in a thrilling situation. Fortunately, the guide of the snow bus took care of him and was sent back to Taiwan after 3 emergencies to pick up his life. Afterwards, he admitted that this was the closest moment in his life to death, and now he has gradually recovered. News highlights Taiwan has officially entered the non-nuclear homeland, and at the same time ushered in the rapid development of the AI industry. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang announced the opening of a new headquarters in Taiwan to build an AI supercomputer, which is expected to use up to 100 MW of electricity in the data center, equivalent to the electricity consumption of the entire city of Tainan. In the face of the withdrawal of nuclear energy, Taiwan has made up for the gap with thermal power generation, but it has raised concerns about carbon emissions and sustainability. While renewable energy is favored, waste and land constraints are also challenges. The referendum on the extension of nuclear power and the resumption of nuclear power continue to ferment, and the energy transition has become the focus of society. News highlights Hong Kong star Ho Yan-shi and her husband Cheng Chun-hung have a son, Asher, who announced last year that he was suffering from a rare disease Angelman syndrome, and the couple actively accompanied him in treatment. Recently, Asher celebrated her 3rd birthday and is being admitted to a special school, and her parents are very pleased to see that she has made significant progress after the intensive treatment in the United States. A warm party was held on his birthday, and Zheng Junhong shared photos on social platforms and wrote down his blessings to his son emotionally, which was warm and touching. News highlights 75-year-old veteran actress Guo Mizu's breast cancer recurred, and after the right mastectomy, she will have surgery to remove her left breast again in 2023, and her emotions collapsed for a while. Fortunately, the surgery was successful, and the doctor switched to 20-proton therapy instead of chemotherapy, and his condition is stable. She admitted that she often went to the hospital in the past 2 years, and was afraid to attend the party to prevent infection, and her long-term cough has not healed, and her health is still worrying. Fans cheered for her after learning the news. News highlights South Korea's 44-year-old well-known singer Lin Genji announced through Instagram on May 29 that she and her husband Kim Hee-ran, who is 6 years younger, are about to have their first child, and they are currently 23 weeks pregnant. She revealed that despite the stable period, the couple is still cautious to welcome the new life and is grateful for this precious gift. Lim Chung-hee shared an ultrasound video, revealing that the fetus was named Bong Bong, which was warm and touching. The two got married in October 2023, which is the first time that the good news of pregnancy has been made public. News highlights Soha pointed out that in the second half of 2025, the fortune of the zodiac ox, dragon, and monkey will improve significantly. Due to their past efforts and perseverance, they are expected to be promoted and raised, and their lives will be reversed by investment profits. The dragon's career will meet nobles, expand contacts, and increase wealth growth opportunities. Monkey people have a flexible workplace, seize new business opportunities, and can also expect to make profits in investment, and their financial luck will continue to be strong. News highlights Wang Xiaofei and his wife Ma Xiaomei took their children to celebrate Children's Day at a high-end barbecue restaurant in Taipei yesterday, June 1st, and he revealed that the family of 4 had dinner together to give them more meat. Ma Xiaomei shared a meal photo on IG, saying that as the beginning of Wang Xiaofei's birthday month, he will celebrate his 44th birthday on the 27th of this month. The dining venue for 2 is a well-known high-end barbecue restaurant in the Eastern District, and the set menu is expensive. News highlights 15 years after the broadcast of Diary of a Recruit, director Wang Wei reunited with actors Li Xingwen, Yao Yuanhao, Ace Yang, and others to relieve the friendship of the year. Li Xingwen said emotionally that the shooting was vivid, and the scene was full of laughter and tears. Ai Cheng's widow Wang Tong also attended as a family member, lamenting that the show's ratings have become a family heirloom. Lin Dayuan even took a group photo of the late Ai Cheng P, which caused netizens to be moved and call so hearty. News highlights 17-year-old rising pool star Ye Yishan originally qualified for the WTT US Grand Slam, but was disqualified by the Table Association on the grounds that he should be given priority to participate in the Asian Youth Championships. Even if Ye was willing to cooperate, it was still revoked, causing condemnation from all walks of life. The sports department demanded an apology and suspended the subsidy, and the Table Association issued a statement a day later saying that it would humbly review and hold a meeting to explain. News highlights ambassador-designate to Finland Lin Changzuo recently talked about the past of domestic violence in his childhood, admitting that he had been violently treated by his father for 10 years, resulting in physical and mental illness, which is still difficult to recover. Although he chose to forgive, the pain was with him. Internet celebrity agent Han Jing felt the same after watching the show, and even had PTSD symptoms, bluntly saying that domestic violence is impossible to let go, and criticized the society for the lack of understanding and empathy for victims. News highlights when the new crown epidemic restarted, physician Huang Xian reminded to wash hands frequently, wear masks, and get vaccinated. He pointed out that the latest research shows that after being infected with COVID-19, brain function will be impaired and IQ may decrease. The average IQ of mild patients will drop by 3 points, long COVID patients will drop by 6 points, and severe patients will be reduced by 9 points, which is equivalent to 10 years of brain aging. And with each additional infection, the IQ drops by an average of 2 points. Even mild symptoms may affect memory, concentration, and learning. Huang Xian called for avoiding repeated infections and seeking medical attention as soon as possible if there are long-term symptoms such as brain fog and tiredness.